Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dave, and we're back with our next reading of the Old Testament. For those of you that have been following along, you know that we're in the book of Exodus, and today we're doing chapter 14. So if you have your Bible and you want to follow along with me, I'll be reading out of the New King James Version. All right. And if you don't have a Bible, remember that you can go to Bible.com or down the YouVersion app and read for free. If you'd like to purchase a Bible, I do have links down below. One link specifically to this Bible. It's not a very inexpensive one, but it is down there, as well as some other less expensive Bibles. All right. So chapter 14, we're going to talk about the Red Sea crossing, and for a total of 31 verses. All right. So we're going to cover just the Red Sea crossing for 31 verses. All right. I'm interested about chapter 15. It's more like a poem. All right, anyways, we'll get to that tomorrow. All right. All right, so chapter 14 of the book of Exodus. If you're ready, I'm ready, and we'll go ahead and get going. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel that they turn and camp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, opposite Baal-zephon. You shall camp before it by the sea. For Pharaoh will say of the children of Israel, they are bewildered by the land, the wilderness has closed in on them. Then I will harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will pursue them, and I will gain honor over Pharaoh and all his army, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord." And they did so. Now it was told the king of Egypt that the people had fled, and that the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people, and they said, "Why have we done this? That we have let Israel go from serving us." So he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. Also he took 600 choice chariots, and all the chariots of Egypt with captains over every one of them. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he pursued the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with boldness. So the Egyptians pursued them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, his horsemen and his army, and overtook them, camping by the sea, beside Pi-hahiroth, before Baal-zephon. And when Pharaoh drew near, the children of Israel lifted their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them. So they were very afraid, and the children of Israel cried out to the Lord. Then they said to Moses, "Because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you so dealt with us to bring us out of Egypt? Is this not the word that we told you in Egypt, saying, 'Let us alone, that we may serve the Egyptians'? For it would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than it would should we die in the wilderness." And Moses said to the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand still and see that the salvation of the Lord, which he will accomplish for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall see again no more forever. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace." And the Lord said to Moses, "Why do you cry to me? Tell the children of Israel to go forward, but lift up your rod and stretch it out your hand over the sea and divide it. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And I indeed will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, and they shall follow them. So I will gain honor over Pharaoh and over all his army, his chariots and his horsemen. Then the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, when I have gained honor for myself over Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen." And the angel of God who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them. And the pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. Thus it was a cloud and darkness to the one, and it gave light by night to the other, so that the one did not come near the other at all that night. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea into dry land. And the waters were divided, so that the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea on the dry ground. And the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went after them into the midst of the sea, all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. Now it came to pass in the morning watch that the Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and cloud, and he troubled the army of the Egyptians. And he took off their their chariots' wheels, so that they drove them with difficulty. And the Egyptians said, "Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fights for them against the Egyptians." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, that the waters may come back upon the Egyptians and their chariots, and on their horsemen." And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and when the morning appeared, the sea returned to its full depth, while the Egyptians were fleeing into it. So the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea. Then the waters returned and covered chariots and horsemen, and all the army of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them. Not so much as one of them remained. But the children of Israel had walked on dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall to them on their right hand and on their left. So the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Thus Israel saw a great work which the Lord had done in Egypt. So the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. Isn't it amazing how much it takes for people to believe God? To believe that he'll do what he says that he's going to do? They had him there with them, a pillar of fire leading them by the night, a cloud leading them by day. Yeah, they still doubted and still had disbelief. Sad. Anyways, thanks so much for joining me. That's the story of them crossing the Red Sea. Tomorrow we'll hit a different topic, chapter 15. So I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you are enjoying your week and that it goes pleasantly for you all. All right, thanks. God bless.
When life keeps falling and wonder where he is in all this mess, he's right there to guide you, unseen, you're not